'cause every little thing's gonna be alright.
It's gonna be alright.
Sunshine on my shoulders, sunshine on my face, sunshine all around me keeps me warm.
So warm.
Comes up in the morning, goes down in the west, and every day's coming up in the morn. And I can count on you like I count on the sun, and I will rest in you like I rest in the sun. Keep me warm, oh Lord, keep me warm, so warm. And I can count on you like I count on the sun, and I will rest in you like I rest in the sun, keeping me warm, warm. Lord, keep me warm, light the fire within, to keep me warm. Lord, keeping me warm,
So warm.
Lord, keeping me warm,
So warm.
light the fire within,
Fire.
keeping me warm,
So warm.
keeping me warm,
Keeping me warm.
so warm.
So warm.
Light the fire within, keeping me warm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please join me in welcoming Dr. John Daughters.
Well, today I'm talking about the gift of love. And part of what we're doing is we say, what is love? And everybody here probably has a little bit different definition of what love really is. But there's some things we know. One of them is that it's vital to human existence. It's right up there with air and water and food and shelter. We need to be loved, and we need to love. And being loved isn't something you can demand, isn't something you can earn. It's something that happens to be freely given. We have to define it. And in a way, it's like a tapestry with many, many threads. And I'm going to cover some of those threads today that add up to the gift of love. Now, in Sanskrit, the ancient language of India, there are 7 words for love. So they can be fairly specific. My youngest brother is a Sanskrit scholar, and the question is, which one of those words are you going to use? In Greek, there are 4 words for love. We have agape, which is love for humanity. It's the thing that makes us write a check to the Red Cross when there's a disaster somewhere in the world. A love for humanity. We have philia, which is the brotherly love. Put simply, it's the love you feel for the people you like to hang out with, your special friends. We have storge, love for your children, which is a separate kind of love, but still very powerful. And we have eros, which is the passionate love. And what we often do is we think of sex when we think of eros. And it's much, much more than that. You may be passionate about a multitude of things. You may be passionate about the environment. Maybe passionate about homelessness. You might be passionate about education. But whatever your passion is, that is driven by that feeling of eros, that feeling of love. Now, George Carlin, the comedian, had his own definition of love. He said, love is a warm feeling in the shorts. And in some ways, that's sort of amusing, but the interesting thing is many of us, if not most of us, get married according to George Carlin's definition. And then we discover that's not enough. Try as we might, it's not enough. So In the years that I've done relationship workshops and the time that I've done counseling with people, I've come up with some examples that seem to represent parts of love, what works and what doesn't, that sort of illustrate how things really work. And one of them was very interesting. It occurred, I lived in Hawaii for 30 years. I attended Unity Church there. And they announced one day that there was a woman in town who was an actress who was going to be putting on an acting workshop. And one of the women in the congregation got really excited. She didn't realize it until it was announced, but that's what she wanted. She really wanted that. And it was so exciting. And she went home and told her husband, she says, come home early on Thursday night. And I'll get dinner on, but be sure the kids eat and clean up all the dishes and be sure they get their homework done because I'm going to this workshop at church. He said, well, what's the workshop? She said, well, it's an acting workshop. This actress from California is in town. He says, hold it. Hold it. You've got responsibilities. You've got to take care of the kids. You've got to help them with their homework. You've got responsibilities. And that doesn't include going to a workshop with some artsy-fartsy out-of-work actress. Whew. Didn't dampen the enthusiasm. She went to the workshop. And there were 7 or 8 women there. And the leader of the group said, well, tell me, introduce yourselves, say who you are, and what do you expect out of the workshop? What would you like to get? Tell us about yourself. And she told the story of her husband saying, going to a workshop with some artsy-fartsy out-of-work actress. And the actress said, you know, I've been out of work a lot. It goes with the territory. Sometimes you audition and it doesn't happen, and sometimes something really good comes up and you're already committed to something. I've been out of work a lot. And as for artsy-fartsy, watch this. She unbuttoned the top buttons of her blouse, put her hand in her armpit, and started pumping farts. And she said, everybody do it. People, are you going to do that? Are you going to? She said, come on, everybody. And one person started, and another, and soon they were all pumping farts. And they started to laugh. And the leader said, all right, this is what it's about. Acting is stepping out of your comfort zone. It's stepping out of your belief system, all the shoulds that you should do or the shouldn'ts that you shouldn't do. You step into someone else's skin. You step into their belief system. And when you do that freely and totally with nothing holding you back, you can act. If you can pump farts, you can act. And actually, I thought that was pretty good when I heard about it. And she went home. Husband still wasn't home. He frequently worked late. Her oldest son said, well, how was the workshop? She said, oh, it was great. It was fabulous. He said, well, what did you learn? She said, watch this. He said, Mom, stop it. Stop it. You're embarrassing us, Mom. Stop that. And she told me later, she said, what have we done to them that they can't laugh? That they can't play? That they can't have some fun? Why has life got to be so incredibly serious? What have we done to them? About 6 months later, her husband called, made an appointment, came in, sat down in a chair and slouched down, and he said, she's leaving me. He said, I don't get it. I don't get it. We've got a beautiful home. It's not on the beach, but it's like 3-minute walk to the beach. The kids are in private school. I'm respected in the community. You know, I've been on the board at the country club. I even bought her that little car she wanted. You know, you can't take kids to soccer practice or to band practice in it. We got a van. She wanted it, I bought it. I've done everything I'm supposed to do. And she is leaving me. She's leaving me. Well, there was something that he didn't do. He didn't say, how can I support you? See, in his frame of reference, she was to support him. She was the one who always kept the house nice, helped the kids with the good grades. She was the one who threw the great parties for his business associates. She's the one who looked good on his arm when he walked into a restaurant. That was her job. It never occurred to him he needed to support her. Now, one of the things I've found about people and relationships, I have an interesting metaphor. I think we're all a bunch of gears inside, a bunch of cogwheels. We have cogwheels for different things. We have cogwheels for work, cogwheels for play, for family, for sex, for money, cogwheels for everything else. And they're all spinning. And sometimes they start growing. This one becomes more important. This one's less. So sometimes one of them starts going real fast, one's going slow. We change as we go through life. We always have the changes. And then we meet somebody else and discover they've got a lot of cogwheels, and we've got to make these things mesh. We have an issue of negotiation, of cooperation, and also saying, how can I support you? Support somebody's growth. Support them in the changes of their life. The gift of support is a major part of the gift of love. How can I support you? Another couple, Cindy and Jeff. Cindy was divorced. Her husband would come home and start drinking. The weekends were just an alcoholic blur. And she tried everything. She tried AA. She tried family interventions. She just tried to get him to realize what he was doing. And the alcohol became more important than she was. That was painful. And she said, I deserve better. And I said, no, you don't. You deserve what you put up with. Whew. That was a zinger. And she divorced him. And Jeff was different. I didn't know Jeff well, but I talked to his ex-wife once. And she said, Jeff's a good guy. He's a great guy. She said he just got busy with his agency. He's hiring new agents. He's training new agents. He's going out with them at night to talk to clients. He's really a great guy. And she said, I was busy at work. I got involved in some charity events, volunteer for different things, and the marriage just died of neglect. Just died of neglect. Well, Jeff and Cindy got together, and they made some decisions, because you have to learn what works and what doesn't, do more of what works and less of what doesn't. And they said, okay, we're going to have a date night, at least twice a month, maybe 3 if we can, but we're going to plan it. It's going to be Friday night, because Friday night he can't go out calling on clients. And they did more than that. Every Thanksgiving they got the calendar out for the following year and blocked off every single 3-day weekend and said, this is for us. We're getting away. We're not going to do the taxes. We're not going to paint the kitchen. We're not going to catch up on some work. we're getting away, the marriage comes first. A commitment. The marriage comes first. And that's a gift of commitment. And it's one of the threads that goes in the tapestry of the gift of love. The commitment. The marriage comes first. Another example was Leslie. I met Leslie at church, and we, like a bunch of other people, ran a workshop going on every week. And Leslie was single, divorced, I should say, for a long time, had a little girl who was about 10 years old. And she wanted to marry a rich man. She had her mindset, she's going to marry a rich man. And she had opportunity. She was a flight attendant. She worked a first-class cabin. And equally as important, Leslie was a babe. If I'd have been younger, richer, and handsomer, I'd have been in line for Leslie. Fortunately, good sense prevailed, and I didn't do such a foolish thing. And she came to our class one night, and she said, I think I found the guy. And people said, well, where is he? She said, well, he's on the mainland. He's got an office south of San Francisco, but he's got a client over here, and he flies over to Hawaii, and, at least once a month. And everybody says, well, we want to meet him. Whew. Well, she brought him to church. And this guy was Hollywood handsome. I would say a Mitt Romney kind of guy. And she was really excited, and everyone was really happy for her because that's what she wanted. And one night, he threw a temper tantrum. A yelling, screaming, raging temper tantrum at her daughter. Pack your bag. You're out of here. You are out of here. He said, oh, just some stress. I got some problems at the office. We got this big problem, and they're not telling me. They're trying to fix it before I find out about it. I need to know these things. If a client calls, I need to know what's going on. And she said, pack your bag. You're out of here. And people said, Les, come on. He's what you wanted. Give him a break. And she said, no, I won't do that. My first husband always put me down. Always making comments that hurt. Always putting me down in public. He would say, hey, you look close. She's got blonde roots. And she said, he makes it a joke, and it's not a joke because it hurts. And he would say, do you know how many times Leslie laughs at a joke? 3 times. Once when you tell it. Once again when you explain it. And then when she finally gets it. She said, I didn't get any respect. I want respect. I insist on respect. And throwing a temper tantrum isn't respectful. And she said, and someone told me once, you don't get any more respect than what you give yourself. And she says, he's out of here. And sometime later, she was on a flight, or I should say they'd boarded, locked everything down, and had a maintenance problem. Flight's delayed. Passengers are getting nervous, getting restless. She's trying to keep everybody happy, checking at the cockpit because they've got a mechanic in the front of the aircraft and one in the cockpit. Apparently there was an electrical issue, some part they had to get that they couldn't get right away. Pilot's getting antsy. He gets a bonus for on-time flights. And he's ready to lose it. Everybody's on this guy's case, and he won't sign off. And finally, things checked out. He signed off. They took off. They burned extra fuel, getting to San Francisco, getting there a little bit faster. And sometime later, she met the mechanic in the cafeteria. And she says, "Oh, I know you. You're the guy that wouldn't sign off on our plane and we were late." And he said, "That's my job. I never sign off." And he said, "But what time? What was that?" And she explained it, and he said, "I'm not sure I remember it. Because that's what I do. It's my job." He says, "I want on-time takeoff, just like everyone else, but I also want the plane to make it all the way to San Francisco." And he laughed. And she married Bernie. He wasn't drop-dead gorgeous. He wasn't rich. But he was very pleasant. He was just a happy kind of person. He was a kind of a person who was just kind. Kindness was a major issue. He was just kind to people. He was happy with people. And some months later, I don't know when this was, because they showed up at church at irregular intervals, like when his schedule and her schedule, and they sort of overlapped and coincided on a Sunday. But something happened. Bernie's name changed. He wasn't Bernie anymore. He was Daddy. Magic. A gift of respect. A gift of caring. And what I would invite all of you to do is to be aware of these things. To be aware that love isn't just one thing. It's the tapestry. And it consists of that gift of support. How can I support you and help each other in your personal growth? It consists of the commitment that says the relationship comes first. We're committed to this. Nothing gets in the way. Nothing gets in the way. And I'll say this, Jeff was committed. I was at a party and somebody said, "Hey everybody, Labor Day is coming up. I'm going to do my annual barbecue and everybody's invited. I'll do the ribs, I'll do some burgers. You guys bring the fixins." And Jeff said, "Well, we can't make it." "Why?" He said, "Well, we're going out to Koilima Resort. We're going out to the resort for the weekend." And the guy said, "Jeff, are you nuts? The kitchen's going to be overloaded. And the help will be overloaded. And my ribs are great. And besides, you'll never get a tea time." And he said, "Who leaves the room?" There was a commitment. The relationship comes first. So again, support, the gift of support, the gift of commitment, the gift of respect and caring. And you combine them all, it adds up to the gift of love. And I invite you to put it out there, and it will come back to you. It always does. Thank you. Well, what I just covered was what about love, and the workshop this afternoon is going to be how to do it and why to do it. And we'll sort of fill in all the blanks here and make it worthwhile. So again, thank you all very much.
For those of you that are not aware of religious science, we do have a 5-step treatment. All that there is God. God is in every movement, every animal, every rock, all of God's creation. All that there is God. I am one with God. Everyone here is at one with that divine presence, with that divine, with that creation, with that creator. In this moment, I claim for myself, I claim love, I claim light, I claim peace and joy and harmony. As I claim these for myself, I claim those for all those within the sound of my voice, with the influence of my voice. I know that we are all one. We are all God. We are all together in this life. I claim for this earth peace and joy. I claim these for all the ministers of all the religions, all the rabbis, all the bishops, all the laymen who are part of their community. And in the words that they say, in the way that they act, may peace and joy and love and light be in the words that they say. Let us have a world where darkness is not acceptable, where all we have is love and light, love and peace, love and joy, love and harmony. In all the churches, on all the different paths that all the people may go, may they find the light to guide their path. And in this moment, in this divine moment, I express gratitude. Gratitude for the knowledge that we are one. Gratitude for the love and light within me. Gratitude for the peace and joy within me and within each of those within the sound of my voice. I release my word into law, knowing the law always says, yes, it's yours right here, right now. And as my prayer goes out, my word goes out, I know it is done, and so it is.